Welcome, Reaver from Gravespawn.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. Why are we here today?
We are here because my band, Gravespawn, is 20 years old this year. And we're doing a show here in LA before heading to Steelfest in Finland.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
very
you.
good. 20 years. Wow, that's impressive.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah, long time. Can you please tell us the story of Gravespawn?
Sure. I started the band in 2003 when I was in the Army. I was stationed in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is just out in the middle of nowhere. And then, about a year later, I got stationed in Korea, where I put out my first demo, and then moved back to my hometown in Kansas, put out another demo, and eventually moved to LA because of some brash, youthful decision that just kind of ended up working out, and I've been here ever since.
Cool. How come you came up with the idea to start a band there? It's like...
I had gotten into black metal like around 98 or so when I was in high school. And I had been playing keyboards since I was about 15, I just always wanted to start a band. So I mean, black metal was just something that I instantly fell in love with the second I heard it. So it just felt natural to start a black metal band.
Cool. So what bands were you inspired by at that time?
Hecate and Throne, Emperor, big time Emperor fan, like old Dimmu Borgir, old Satyricon, Balsagoth. A lot of like the more kind of epic symphonic bands, as well as like Dark Funeral, Marduk. My first metal album was Ride the Lightning, and I bought that. Yeah, I bought that when I was 11 years old. So. I guess that always kind of served as like my template for what I wanted to do. Kind of find the fine line between something just raw and fucking brutal, and something like just majestic and melodic at the same time.
Nice. Because I know you use keyboard in the music, right? Mm-hmm. And then I read somewhere that you sold them because.
When I first moved to LA, I was like dirt fucking poor, and needed the money to, of course, record an album. So I regretfully ended up selling my keyboards, but I was able to pay for an album. So, which was our debut album here in LA. Not long after that, we were playing shows with Horna and other bands rolling through here, Dotsford.
Did you say Horna? The Finnish band? Oh, cool. So what genre would you say your band is?
Melodic black metal. I mean, at its core, I guess. But we use like a lot of medieval influence as well. I'm super big into like medieval history and stuff ever since I was 10 years old. So I mean, I incorporate a lot of that into my music.
Is that also inspiration to your lyrics? If you could talk a bit about
yes,
your
definitely. When I was about 10 years old, my dad went out and rented Conan the Barbarian at the video store, and I watched that, and it was just like fucking just blown away by it. So, I mean, ever since then, I just got really big into like ancient history and mythology and stuff like that. And I've always kind of had, at some level, or other, that's always been a part of what I write, is epic battles and mythology and stuff like that.
Are you also into like Satanism? Does that
the core philosophy of Satanism, I would say I'm definitely into. As far as like an actual practice goes, probably not for a long time. I was definitely way more into it when I was younger. But I think, black metal at its core is satanic music. I think the core philosophy of black metal is Satanism. I think, regardless of what direction it's going in. I mean, I think that at its core, the basic philosophy of black metal is Satanism.
In what way would you say like Satanism is the core of music?
Well, I mean, I think that what black metal is, I mean, at least, me personally, I'm always a little careful about this question because I don't want to try to sound like, I'm saying like this is what it is, I mean, I always try to talk from the perspective of what it is to me personally. I mean, I believe that, black metal, represents the darker and more primitive aspect of human nature, even if, which no matter what, always exists. It's always going to be there regardless if, people want to deny that, if they want to think of it as some flaw in our design or, it's the fault of some supernatural arch villain or something, the dark aspect of human nature is always going to be there. You can express it constructively or destructively, but either way, it's always going to come out in the end somehow. If I can quote, Robert E. Howard, "Barbarianism is the natural state of mankind." I think that individualism is extremely important to this genre. I mean, not just black metal though, but I think in metal in general, the ideas of individualism have always been a part of what makes metal music what it is. Fuck the world, I'm going to do my own thing. I mean, that's kind of what we're all doing in the end. I delve into mythology a lot. From various different cultures. It's not like my goal for Gravespawn to, be like an expression of my heritage so much as like my own personal interest in like history and mythology and stuff. But I I wouldn't say there's like a ritual aspect to anything I do. It's more like I have an interest in like dark mythology, and I express that in my lyrics. I was definitely bigger into Satanism when I was younger. Because I grew up in the Bible Belt. If you don't know what that is, the Bible Belt is a term that we refer to as like kind of the middle section of the United States, and it's just a very conservative religious part of the country. And I grew up during the 80s and 90s when like the Satanic Panic was in full swing, and I think a lot of the early stuff I was doing was just sort of like venting some steam and just an escape from like that kind of environment that I grew up in. Obviously here in LA, that's really not so much of an issue anymore, so I kind of started moving away from that and use my music to just explore my interests more. I certainly don't have a positive view of it, but nowadays, I kind of don't really give as much of a shit anymore. People are gonna do what they do and believe whatever they believe in, and I'm just really here to do my own thing. I don't have to deal with it anymore. That's really the big thing. I don't have to deal with their bullshit anymore. So it's like you do your thing over there, I'll do my thing over here, and we'll be cool. Just don't shove your shit down my throat, and we'll be fine. Well, I started. I started the band, after I had already kind of gotten away from that area. I never really met any resistance from that side of things, since then. But growing up in that kind of area as a metalhead, you definitely kind of, get like, kind of the looks from everyone, like, what the fuck is this guy's problem, But, any attempt to, I mean, we've really only had one attempt to kind of shut us down before, like at a show we were playing in the Midwest, but that wasn't that group trying to shut us down. That was someone else. I have gone back to play in my hometown, and it's really kind of changed a lot since the many years that I grew up there. So I mean, yeah, nobody really gives a shit anymore. The old generation can't really, gripe about it as much as they used to. So I mean, there's still the people that do give a shit, but I mean, it's definitely not, as much as I was used to dealing with when I was younger. Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, it wasn't just this music. I mean, it was like cartoons. You couldn't watch like He-Man without getting whipped with a belt and shit. I mean, it was pretty crazy. Back in the 80s was a crazy time in that area. I used to practice Satanism, back in like my early 20s. But it was never really much of a ritual thing for me, so much as I'm extremely pissed off kind of thing, Yeah, my time with Satanism was more a thing of like anger than it was any kind of spiritual practice for me. It was a way for me to just, kind of vent a lot of, anger about, the way, just the environment that I grew up in.
Yeah.
We're playing Steelfest Friday, and hopefully more European festivals after that, if all goes well. Because I paid for this venture myself, so I'm definitely not doing that again. This is, So it's either a one-time deal, or hopefully hopefully we get more offers in the future, and of course more albums.
Yes, of course.
Trying to work on stuff now, but taking my time with it. I feel like the last one was good enough that I don't have to rush anything out. Yep. Go check us out.
We will.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.